Both the prosecution and defense trying to score final points with the jury ahead of deliberations. We have Fox 5 live team coverage. Arthur Chan has more on the spectacle outside the courtroom, which included actor Robert De Niro shouting back and forth with Trump supporters. But let's start with Morgan McKay live outside the criminal courthouse in Lower Manhattan with more on what went on during closing arguments today. Morgan.
Stephen, Natasha, it was a final pitch today. Prosecutors told the jury that this case is about a conspiracy and a cover-up, while the defense said that this case hinges upon Michael Cohen, who they called a gloat, a.k.a. the greatest liar of all time.
We have a rigged court case that should have never been brought.
Former President Donald Trump headed into the start of what could be the last week of his criminal fraud trial. Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, kicked off his closing arguments by saying, quote, "President Trump is innocent. You should want and expect more than the testimony of Michael Cohen." Cohen is Trump's former attorney and the prosecution's key witness. He has also admitted to lying under oath several times in the past. And Blanche jumped on this, calling Cohen a liar and someone who is obsessed with Trump, saying that Cohen acted on his own when he paid adult film star Stormy Daniels to keep quiet about her alleged sexual encounter with Trump. Blanche insisted Trump didn't know the checks he was signing were meant to be reimbursing Cohen for these hush money payments. Quote, "How is the government going to expect you to convict President Trump on the words of Michael Cohen?" But prosecutor Joshua Steinglass laid out a much different argument. Quote, "The defense wants to make this case about Michael Cohen. It isn't. That's a deflection." Steinglass continued, calling Cohen a tour guide that can offer the jury a glimpse into Trump's inner circle, and said that Trump relied so heavily on Cohen because, quote, "he was willing to lie and cheat for Trump." Steinglass says Trump sought to silence Daniels, and this conspiracy is what could have helped Trump win the election. Steinglass told the jury that Trump, who was well known to have full control over his business empire, then knowingly faked business records to hide these hush money payments, labeling them as legal expenses, and leading to the 34 felony charges. Trump during the day stayed quiet as he walked in and out of the courtroom.
Mr. Trump, how are you feeling on today?
Now, there was a moment of contention inside the courtroom. At the end of Blanche's closing arguments, he told the jury that the prosecution wants them to put Trump in jail. Well, the jury is not supposed to decide the sentencing when they're deliberating on a verdict, so the judge admonished Blanche and told him that his comments were outrageous, and he didn't believe it was an accident. And he also told the jury later to ignore Blanche's comments. Now, tomorrow morning, they're going to give jury instructions that should last about an hour. After that, they will be deliberating for however long it takes. Reporting live, I'm Morgan McKay. Stephen, Natasha, back to you.